Hi, and welcome to another episode of Real Estate with Howard Drukarsh. For those who don't know me, a bit about my background is I'm one of the co-founders of the largest independent real estate brokerage in Canada with over 5,000 members. I've also been on the board of directors of the Toronto Regional Real Estate Board for 2 terms. I've also sat on the board of directors of the Real Estate Council of Ontario, also known as RECO, which is the regulator for the province of Ontario for registrants. And I sit on the board of the company I co-founded. If you're interested in finding out more about me, the first podcast called Intro is a way to do that. One of the things about our podcast is it's not through the traditional podcast. Our goal is to interview real estate agents, brokers, developers, media people, and even some people outside of real estate, just interesting folks that we think you'd enjoy hearing. The one thing we find interesting in our conversation is what's the challenges these people had to overcome, roadblocks, setbacks, rejection, failures, and then stay focused on their goal and be intentional about where they want to go. My own career in our business was when I started the company, I had never been a manager, and as we needed to manage offices, I would manage different offices as we opened them, and then I also took on the role of president and broker of record for a few years. So I've done all that, and the thing I did in every part of that career was interview agents and see if they were interested in joining right at home and whether we wanted them to be a member of our company. And I probably interviewed and had over 1,000 people. So over that time, I got a really good sense of people who I thought would do really well. Mostly it's a gut feeling, and it's based on the experiences that I've had with other people. Our guest today, Nichole Taylor, was one of those people I met in a kind of unusual way. She was with our company, left our company, and I called her to ask her why. And at a relatively young age, she decided to go out and open her own brokerage. And Nichole and I have kept in touch. And I think what I found fascinating is, her sense of positiveness and taking on the challenge of being a broker. So I thought it'd be nice to invite Nichole. And Nichole, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. I really, really am honored. When you called me, I was literally fanning out because Right at Home Realty, I was there. I love Right at Home Realty. The only reason I even left was because I wanted to do my own brokerage. But if I didn't open my own brokerage, I'd still be there. But yeah, no, Howard, you and your founders and like your partners, what you guys created is amazing. And I just respect that. I'm obsessed with business. So that was one thing I was like, okay, oh my gosh, like this is a good person to know and to like talk to and hear your advice that you have for somebody starting in business.
Well, I was really impressed that at your age that you thought, I can be a broker and I can take on those challenges, and you've done well. So, for me, having you, when we decided who would want to have on our podcast, I thought you'd be a great guest. So thanks for agreeing. One of the things I find interesting with people is the influences of where they're from and family. So do you want to talk a bit about, family influences on you and, kind of your background?
So most people in my family, they're entrepreneurs. I grew up around business people. So my mom, she actually owns a mortgage brokerage, Taylor Finance, and that is a sister company to mine.
Free plug.
Sorry?
A free plug.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, so she was a really big influence in my life in terms of business. And also my grandmother, she's owned restaurants, she's owned convenience stores. She was a nurse for as long as I could remember. So, and most of the people in my family are entrepreneurs. So I grew up around that. My stepdad, my former stepdad, he was a boxer. So my little sister's godfather is Lennox Lewis. They
really?
were together. They were great friends, still friends to this day. So, yeah, I've been around business and I just love it. And I grew up in Virginia Beach. So that was kind of like the fast-paced living that I saw. I grew up with and saw that. So when I came back to Canada, everybody was kind of more conservative, and I was still on that American time where it was like go, 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 go. So yeah, I think that's where I got influenced with my business. It's just family and also my surrounding.
And before real estate, I remember you did tell me you had another business or other businesses. So
Yeah,
you were
so
entrepreneurial before real estate, right?
yeah, so before I didn't, so real estate wasn't in the cards. I didn't think I was going to get into real estate at all. I had a property and business management company, and the big client that I had, they had a lot of real estate. So they mentioned, okay, if you were to get your license, then you can sell one of our properties. So I'm like, okay. So I that's how I got into real estate. It wasn't by I grew up and always wanted to be a realtor. It was literally because I had an opportunity. I love business, and I was just like, why not? So yeah, I got into real estate like that. Now we're here.
Okay.
Here we are.
And I remember when we talked about when you were starting your own brokerage. Most people in this business, they start in residential and they mostly stay in residential. Occasionally they'll go into commercial, but not necessarily quickly, let's say.
Yeah.
But I know that your focus is commercial, correct?
Yeah. I actually would rather do commercial than residential. Residential has been kind of the bread and butter over the years, but commercial is my first love. As I said, the company I was working with, it was a huge company. They had a big building. It was 2.5 million. That was one of my first sales. So can you imagine?
Yes.
One of your first sales being a $2.5 million freestanding commercial building. I was hooked after that. So
I
love numbers. I love crunching numbers and doing strategy, and commercial was kind of where I wanted to be at. But as any realtor knows, like commercial is it's a big situation. Residential is probably easier to get, like everyday type of thing. But yeah, commercial is where my love is.
Okay. One of the things about the business, and I guess it's every business, but in this case, we're talking the real estate business, is the importance of persistence, luck, hard work. How have those things affected your career?
So I've always been an entrepreneur since since as long as I can remember. So persistence has always been in my blood. So that, I don't know anything else. Luck, I think there's a corny saying, luck is preparation and opportunity meet together. That's 100% true.
Okay.
You have to be prepared to be lucky. You know what I mean? Like, whether you're buying a lotto ticket or what, you still have to be prepared to go to the store and buy it, right? So anyway, I do believe that luck is opportunity mixed with preparation. And I've had that over my years, like in business, for sure. So it's all about hard work. Like, to be honest, a lot of people this day and age, a lot of people want to be entrepreneurs, want to be business people, and they don't really know the necessary characteristics that it might take to survive. If you're willing to give up very easily, it's not for you. If you're willing to not get paid, then it's for you, because sometimes you don't get paid and you're doing all this work and you're not getting paid. If you want a secure situation, not for you. So yeah, I've always been up for that challenge. That's all I know. That's all I know.
Well, it's interesting because, that really answers the question. Anybody who goes into an entrepreneurial situation, real estate included, have to have a sense of how they feel about risk, risk averse or good with risk. I guess I related to you in as much as when I started the company with my two partners, I never started a real estate company, but there was just a gut feeling that it was going to work. I mean, I had a lot of respect for both of them. We got along very well. Timing was on our side. And so when I meet someone like you who decides that you're okay with taking the risk, I always feel, I applaud you, and I guess I empathize with that. So you answered the question about risk.
Yeah.
What you did mention your mother and grandmother. Would you say those were the biggest influences in your life in terms of well, just about how you have an outlook about life or business?
100%. My mom, so when I was 13, and I'll never forget this, when I was 13, she looked me in my eye and she said, Nichole, you can be anything you want to be. And like we were in her room. She had a living room area in her room at that house. My mom likes to buy houses, so I'm just remembering that specific house. We had this conversation, and when she said that to me, I was like, I could be anything. And like it just resonated me, like it's resonated with me as a child. And I was like, okay, I really can be anything I want to be. So that alone just was powerful. And it showed me that I don't have to be a doctor or a lawyer or something that maybe people go to school for a long time. And like, that's kind of the society's way of saying that, you know, you're successful, whatever. Like a lot of entrepreneurs, they haven't, you know, finished school, or they haven't, they don't know any better than just street life or whatever the case may be. But yeah, no, when my mom said that to me, I was kind of like, you know what, I can be anything. So that gave me power to do whatever I wanted to do. And I just went from that. And I always had this, like, I had no ceiling. Like there was no ceiling in my life. I said, if I want to do this, I'm going to do this. And as long as I want to do it, I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I've had a problem since, like, accomplishing my goals, as long as I want to accomplish it, because it takes more than just saying you want to. It takes actual action.
Right. And that, I think, is the thing that people who haven't tried their own business don't understand those challenges. You have to be someone who has persistence through so many things and so many challenges. And it's not an easy road, but the satisfaction's unbelievable, right? I mean, when you've accomplished what you set out to do, nothing improved. Nothing's better than that. So, you know, I really understand what you feel, because
Yeah.
I relate to people who start their own business in the same way, or real estate agents who basically have started their own business.
Yeah.
Here's a question about, and it's something that people have to deal with in our business different ways, is loyalty. Loyalty in terms of clients. You know, there are situations that agents run across where they had a client they thought would work with them, and then they got a phone call, hey, I'm excited, I bought a house. Disappointment. Or you thought you'd get the listing and you never got the listings.
Yeah.
So what's your experience with loyalty with your clients?
So, okay, that's a weird question, because with my clients, I work exclusively with people, and it's very loyal. Like they're loyal to me to a T. That's why I'm not a conventional realtor where you'll see me on social media post all my solds or all my, you know, my deals and stuff, because it's kind of like a personal thing between me and a person, which is my client. I don't, the service I give, and this is not to plug or anything, but the service I give is more than just, okay, we're doing a transaction. It's like, you become my friend, you become my associate, you become my responsibility. So all my clients, I would say like 9 out of 10 and like 9.5 out of 10, they're loyal, and they call me back again and again if they have any questions or if they want to do something else. Like, I think that they'll feel weird going somewhere else, like after working with me, because I give such good service. So I think that loyalty is about the service that you give. It's about making sure that your clients are taken care of before you are.
I think you're right. I think customer service, I'm really a student of customer service. When I remember I called, we had to have our heating system looked at, and the people on the phone were so fantastic. And I said, you know, I have to compliment you on your customer service. Yeah. People don't get a lot of that. They don't get a lot of, you know, praise for that part of the business. And I just think it's like a crucial part to growing your business. The way you described your relationship with clients, clearly there's not an issue with loyalty.
No, I don't have, like, to me, if anything, they're very loyal. I don't experience people jumping ship. Oh my God, I can't even give you an example where somebody was unhappy. Um, I'm lying. There's one example that somebody was unhappy. It was actually very recent to the point where, the deal was supposed to close January 1st, 2021. So a few days ago.
Right.
The person was completely just uninformed about how real estate works. And um, without getting into it too deep, it was not my fault. I actually, had to explain to them exactly like how it really works and what to expect from a broker or a realtor. And that's behind me now. But yeah,
Well,
aside from that one client, I can't say that I've had like a bad experience
well,
with a client.
well, I think it's great. And when you do have those experiences, you're the broker of record. Like there's they're
Exactly.
not going to go to anybody else. So,
He was trying to say, "Oh, I'm going to tell your office," and I'm like, "I am the office." I'm
I got,
like, let Rico know what's going on, so that way, when you want to go above me, which
right.
is Rico
Yeah.
or Trev,
Yeah.
then we can handle it there.
Good for
But
you.
I'm completely
Good,
prepared
good for
for
you.
anything that happens because I know I do things right. I'm very serious about my business, and as you know, Howard, when you have a business, you have to take care of it. Like there's no if, ands, or buts. Like you have
Right.
to make sure that the business is protected. So there's no pride, there's no nothing. It's about making sure that things are done right. All your ducks are in a row.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what, we've talked in the past. I know that you started your business with a really smart approach to it, to do it right, to protect yourself, to protect your clients, like, the
yeah.
right things. Um, if a new agent, and I know you've partnered up with someone, so maybe this is a good question for you. If a new agent were to ask you, for advice,
Mm-hmm.
what's the advice you'd give them? I mean, you're relatively new, but you're quite successful. So what would you
Yeah,
give a new
I'm
person?
relatively new. I've only been in business, a realtor actually, 6 years, five, almost 6 years. And I've been had my own brokerage for 2 years, so we're really new. It depends on what kind of advice. Like when you say advice, is it about advice about real estate?
Well,
Like,
new people, as you know, when they come into the business, a lot of misconceptions.
yeah,
I guess the biggest one, it looks easy from the
okay.
outside, but if they were to say, Nichole, what should I do to be successful? Well, there's a question.
To me, and as you know, I partnered with somebody. I had an agent before, but whatever. This one, I told her, and this is actually my best friend, so it was very easy to give her advice and like really advice that she needs to hear. Your database is going to be your sales. For me, I work off 90% referrals. 90%. The 10% that I get from like outside lead generation systems and stuff is nice. It's amazing. I love it. But the 90% is from people that know me that say, use Nichole,
Perfect. Yeah.
call Nichole. Whether they know I love commercial, they know I only want to do commercial, but they're still calling their friends and saying, use her for residential
Yeah.
because they know the service that I provide. So my advice would be to say, make sure that your database knows about you, knows your services, and kind of just keep in touch with them and just make sure that they know that you're available to do
Good
deals,
advice. What?
your database.
Okay.
That's my number one advice.
And I think it's great advice because sometimes people are looking for the new client when they've got all these warm leads that are
Exactly.
happy to talk to them. So
Exactly.
good
Warm leads
advice.
are the best leads. Like the
Right.
the hot leads are the ones that actually know you, that are actually those are your billboards. Like those are your sounding boards that
Mm-hmm.
will advertise for you, even though you don't even know they're talking about you. But those are the ones that will tell
Oh, good.
people, you know what, she's amazing. You need to use her. And I think that's a lot of real estate. A lot of real estate people, they get most of their business from their own database.
Right. And I've always said when I was interviewing new people, I told them the ultimate goal in real estate is a referral business. I
Yeah,
mean, that's your goal, people calling you instead of you looking for business. And you don't get there unless you provide really good service, right? And
exactly.
then
And
then you
especially
have lots. Good. Well, what would be the biggest challenges you've had to overcome?
being a small name, being a new brand, being not having the capital that a lot of businesses might start with. That was a challenge at first because I'm using I'm using owner's equity to fund everything. Also a challenge is, as I said, I've been in real estate 6 years, right? I opened a brokerage 2 years ago. So what do I really know about opening up a brokerage? So it's actually aligning with the right people to give me advice on what to do, you know? That's why I really thank you, Howard, because I've been able to call you and ask you certain things, and you've helped me in my journey. And then other brokers that I have on speed dial. And I just make sure that I have support
Right.
to say, this is what I should do. I feel no way to call somebody and be like, what should I do? This is what's happening. What should I do? I feel no way.
Yeah.
I mean, the challenge is being new and not having the capital that maybe a lot of bigger brokerages might have, or a franchise or something. And then also fighting for the business when there's Right at Home Realty or Century 21 or like Remax, like that you're up against those companies that have the brand, but it's about the person that you're trying to sell yourself, and you're trying to sell like your agent. So that's the challenge.
It's also a numbers game. When I started in the business, I farmed an area, and I really was really aggressive about farming. I did all the right things: notepads, door knocking, everything. And I didn't expect business for 2 years because that was kind of what I read. So I never gave up, and then it started to happen. Mm-hmm. But I was up against the same thing. I was up against people who farmed that area for many years, and it became a numbers game. The more appointments I got, the more business I got. So in your case, it's the same thing. You know, when we started this company, no one knew the name. So, you know, those are the harder years. Those are the grinding out years. But that really is the test of whether you're really committed, not you, but anybody. Yeah. But people will identify, you know, the best qualities in people. That it's, you know, real estate's a very important part of anyone's financial position. And when they feel comfortable, you'll get the business. And if it's commercial, I think it's great because probably there aren't as many younger people doing commercial. I may be wrong, but you know, that gives you a leg up because that, you know, you're more contemporary in some ways. So that was my thing. The other question I ask, because this is a result of COVID, is adaptability. You know, everybody has, I love this line, and I've said it before because I just love it. It's from Mike Tyson, and it's everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And
right? Oh my gosh.
And Lennox Lewis probably knows that line better than me.
Sure he does.
Okay. But you know, COVID came along and like people were stunned. And what did you do to adapt your business?
Oh my God. I remember like it was yesterday. So I've been busy all year. Last year, 2020. I've been busy. And then when COVID hit, the month I took it seriously was probably, I think it was April 1st, like end of March, April, like probably when everybody was like under extreme, like
shock.
Alerts. Shock. This is happening. If you didn't know about COVID before, you know about it end of March, beginning of April. So the way that it was weird because like the real challenge is making sure, I don't want to laugh, but this is nervous laugh, by the way, because like it's not a funny situation, but the real challenge was making sure that you're protected, that you're doing protocol, your sanitizer, your PPE,
right?
So protective equipment, and then also you're making sure your clients are aware that this is what you have to do. So I had a fresh listing at that point, and this was like, I was like, oh my God, like, what do I do? Right. But my fresh listing at that point it had so many showings, it was ridiculous. So I was like, okay, so people aren't really, this real estate's not dying. Like it's not affected. Real estate's not affected yet. Anyway. Mm-hmm. So the challenge was like the whole, you know, PPE,
right.
The whole disclosures when you're booking showings and when you're having a listing, and you have to make sure that people are, adhering to the rules, making sure that showings are slowed down so only one person at a time can go in. So there was like that type of
Right.
like
Careful.
that
Just
type of
basically
thing that you had to
carefulness.
worry about. But other than that, real estate was kind of still booming, I guess you could say. And it's crazy because, interest rates are going down. People were getting money from the government. They were trying to move out of city and move to the outskirts. So people were listing their places like crazy. They were buying like crazy because, as I said, the interest rate was down and they wanted to move away. It was just weird. So the way that I adhered, to answer your question, is to just go by the rules. And it was really a new normal for real estate. The open houses were limited. They were doing the lockdowns. I don't know how many lockdowns they did last year, but like a couple times they did a lockdown. And it was kind of like, yeah, this is what we have to do now. This is just our new normal. It's crazy. But
we all take the lockdown seriously. Obviously, we take all of these things seriously.
yeah.
But I have to tell you, one of my Facebook friends posted this. She says, I've had more lockdowns than relationships. That was a way to put humor on it. So the last question I have for you, which I think is a great one, is if you were going to tell your 20-year-old self something, now you've got this experience, what would it be?
Oh my God. To invest in real estate.
Okay, good answer.
Invest in real estate now.
Good answer.
Put all your money in real estate. No, honestly, I would. Because at that time, things would have been like at a price where
right.
Crazy. Like you're gonna win. And even if it was just to get that income every month or whatever the case, appreciation is real, guys. So I would tell my 20-year-old self to invest in real estate.
I love your answer. Your answer really describes who you are. I mean, there's so many different ways to answer. What would you? A lot of people do it from an emotional point of view. One of the best answers I thought was one of the podcasts that I listen to is Matt Higgins. Matt is on Shark Tank, and when the question was asked, he was saying, when you're in your 20s, everybody's concerned with what they look like, what they're doing. Everybody's thinking everybody's watching what you do. And he said, the truth is nobody gives a damn. You think they do, but at the end of the day, they don't. But I love your answer because it really describes who you are.
Yeah. And I don't mean it because I'm trying to do a shameless plug. I'm saying it because my money would have went to better use than like material things and bullshit, basically.
Right. And that's kind of, that's the growth part from 20 to now.
Yeah.
So, Nichole, I want to thank you for your time. I know you're a busy agent and entrepreneur. It's been great to see you and, meet you this way. And then, of course, I wish you all the best with your company. And I'm sure 2021 will be a great year for you. I'm sure you're geared up and ready for it. So best wishes for that. Stay safe. And I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. And anytime.
Okay. Thanks, Nichole. Thank you very much. Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you for joining us. And if you enjoyed our podcast, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, you can reach us on the net at rewithhd.com. That's rewithhd.com. Or by email, info@rewithhd.com. We'd love to hear from you. Any comments or suggestions? We really appreciate hearing from our viewers. That's it for today's podcast. I want to wish everybody safety, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.